or continuing with this?
I want to do this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Continuing in this way. I think it's a good area. Sorry, I had it down as past, which is why I haven't prepared just yet everything that I would have done. But we can talk through it. I'll get that file. There we go. Dissertations. There we go. So what I'll do is I'll make some comments, I'll add some notes to this, and then you'll have it on paper as well, but it's useful to kind of talk through it.
Yeah.
So as a case study, this Nintendo DS Louvre guide, what kind of information do you have on it? I mean, you have the guide itself, so it'd be about your experience of using it?
I think it can let us to quickly to leave the museum, and it's special our time, and maybe can so many people can get information for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do maybe it's a happy AP, and that people we will go to the museum and to can quickly to learn the museum how its history and so many.
So the Louvre and this guide is your central core case study.
Yeah.
The questions it's asking are around digital culture, its integration into museums, around gamification of museum interpretation.
Yeah.
And the effect of that. I think those are relevant questions. So it's seeing that these questions are broader, but the case study allows you to explore them. And so you're drawing out how these questions are relevant more broadly than just at the Louvre and just in this example. Drawing from the kind of general, setting the context, then looking at the specifics of the Louvre and the Nintendo case study. That makes sense. And it's about what it offers. So will you base this on field research? Will you be going to the Louvre using this guide? So that's a kind of core part, is you write from your own experience of using it.
Yeah, I want to go to the Louvre to look it, because I want to let many people too can see it. Maybe the game or game fishing is. I think the in here in today I think game is a very different IP. So maybe everything have computer and iPhone and maybe a little people to read a book. So many information we get for the computer and online.
It has elements of kind of augmented reality or XR, kind of extended reality, because it's a second screen.
Yeah.
So that kind of thinking through that second screen, what does it mean to have like a second screen when you're in a museum? How it affects the experience, how it might give a layer of interpretation, but then does it maybe distance us from the actual objects? Asking those kinds of questions, I think, would be useful. And yeah, in your next timeline, thinking if it is going to be a large section of it based on your field work, on you going and testing and experiencing, mapping that out, mapping out when are you going to go, you know, and how will you analyze that data, how will you develop that? Because in the next meeting, it'd be useful for us to think through the structure. So I think, you know, you have an introduction, you set out the questions you're interested in, why you're interested in them. You have a literature review that looks at gamification, looks at these kind of questions, looks at different ideas of digital, AR, XR, that kind of stuff, all of that literature more generally. And then you set out your core case study, the core chapter, and it'd be useful if you can to like take lots of photos, you know, whilst you're doing that field research. You've got the images from the guide itself, all of that, you're analysing it, discussing that experience from your own perspective, but reflecting on it and analysing it in light of the literature. And then you'd write a conclusion that kind of like thinks, well, what's the future of this, or how might this develop in the future? You know, is it the end of the museum because it'll all move virtual, or what's the interaction between the physical and the digital? So I think that's what's interesting here. The second screen, the physical and the digital, and how they work together. So I would be thinking about reflecting on that. So that kind of sets up maybe 1,000 words for introduction, or setting out, or roughly. 4,000 words, you know, for literature review. And then you might have a section on methodology of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, maybe 1,000, 2,000. Then your core case study, 4,000, 5,000 words maybe. And then the conclusion of about 1,000 words or thereabouts. So that would be that would take you to about 12.
Oh, yeah.
Roughly that would do structurally. Make it purely about this example. You might talk about other projects in the lit review. You might have a section that's about a kind of practice review, museological review, where you're thinking where else has used these kind of game ideas. So that could maybe be a separate chapter. Have a more theoretical review, and then have a practice review. Think about methodology, but your methodology might be a bit more method, like saying, how are you going to do your field work, and for what purpose?
Yeah.
That's what I would be interested in. And then you'd have your fieldwork chapter, which is like at the core of your research. And it's showing and presenting, but also analysing, connecting to the ideas. And then the conclusion is like going back to those initial research questions, or thinking of the future, or developing in that way. So the key question for me really is thinking through the field work, when you do it, how you do it, mapping and planning that.
Yeah.
And because that's so crucial to this. And doing the initial reading.
Yeah.
So this looks like some good elements: gamification and cultural heritage, game-based learning in museums, gamification. So you had those ideas of gamifying digital, augmented reality, extended reality in museums. You might look at like some of the kind of key authors on digital cultural heritage. But yeah, that looks like a good start. Because that reading will help you kind of situate, developing that and developing the kind of core ideas will help you then plan the field work and decide what you're actually going to do in looking through that. Digital mediated use of museums, yeah, that's this second screen kind of aspect, and the digital technology for interpretation, digital interpretation, I think is where you're kind of focused on. Are there things that you're struggling with at the moment, or in terms of your research, or things that you're kind of not sure about that you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I can discuss in a way. I have a question. The first, maybe I speak no very clear. Maybe students maybe children live in a lead. But he come to go to the London and to London Museum, and so I want to do this. That so many people can to learn it, and I want to know the rewards can write in the essay.
If you want to know if
I want it, if the I want to know this question can write in the essay, write into the essay.
Questions of children's, yeah. I mean, you might think of like different audiences. Like, who is the audience for this guide? You know, you might think the question of, it's something to test. Is the use of this digital culture, digital interpretation through gamification, especially useful for engaging young audiences?
Yeah.
So that's a research question.
Yeah. I don't want to the people go to the museum just look like a PDF or a picture. I want to let them join the museum, and so I want to maybe the gamification can let it have a good joy into the museum, and it's okay.
Yeah, level of engagement.
Yeah.
So it's that question we're talking about, is having that second screen does it distance people from the museum, or can it enhance the experience and create better engagement?
Yeah.
And then you can maybe look at both sides, how it distances, but how it or how it potentially could create distance by being the second screen, or how it could enhance engagement through the use of that technology. So yeah, I think there's aspects here. The game part is one part, but then the other part is this question of second screen, augmented, extended reality, and thinking through that. So I think those are the two aspects I would focus on in setting up the questions around. Yeah, and if you're thinking about audience engagement, it's good to think, well, different audiences engage differently.
Yeah.
So it might be that you're thinking about children or young adults, your demographic, but it has a different effect for an older generation. So it might be more distancing for, my generation or generations older might find using a Nintendo DS a distancing thing. not very engaging for them. And so your next steps in the research, I'd recommend that you continue the background research and think about the concepts and ideas. Look for literature that looks at questions of digital cultural heritage, augmented reality in museums, extended reality in museums, and gamification, as we've discussed already, and develop that background research. There might be key authors like Ross Parry, Charlie Geer, Fiona Cameron, who've worked on digital cultural heritage and museums, and Michelle Henning is another one, and develop that kind of background element of the reading. Plan out the fieldwork. I think use that background research and reading to help you think through what the key questions are you want to ask, and use that to guide your fieldwork planning, and then in the next stage you can kind of think a bit more about the structure of the actual dissertation. But I think it has a kind of clear structure: introduction, lit review, methodology, case study, conclusion. So I wouldn't, the only thing there is whether thinking through whether you have a review not just of the theoretical literature but also of practice, and show like different examples that are of interest. That could be quite a useful thing to do. But otherwise I would keep the structure quite simple, and it allows more space for your core case study in the centre of the dissertation. Have you signed up for a next meeting yet? Yeah. So in about 3 weeks' time.
I know to the next meeting. I will today. I will.
Yeah, have a look. Well, that's fine. Just whenever you know, as long as you sign up the week before. So those meetings are scheduled in. There's slots available in 19th and 20th of June.
Oh, okay.
And that's either here, or if you just sign up for the slot that works for you, and you can email me and ask if you prefer online.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I've just been saying there's been a bit of confusion on the timings, but if your device is set up in a different time zone, it will show as like 7 p.m. but it's UK time, so you just have to. If you're not sure, just email me and I'll tell you what it shows on my calendar. But yeah, the timing. If your device is like +7 hours, it will show as like a midday here. It will show as 7 p.m. When you're kind of clicking in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. The times I've set up are all during the day, during office hours.
I think I will go here.
Yeah. So have a look, and if you're not sure, you can always email me. But yeah, now's the time to be doing the background reading and developing all of that literature, looking at things and developing sources. Anything else I can help with?
Oh, no. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. And I'll see you in in 3 weeks' time. We'll meet again.
Yeah, thank you.